Economist Harry Dent predicts stock market crash worse than 2008 bubble.
The bubble of all bubbles. And if you guys don't know who Harry Dent is, he's an economist, and he, predicted the 2007, 2008 crash, which there was a lot of people out there doing that. I think he's just echoing things that we already know, but I think it's very important for us to kind of consider everything that's happening because we're getting lulled to sleep again because there hasn't been a quote unquote crash.
Yeah. Well, let's look at a couple things he specifically said in the article here. It leads off by saying Harry Dent, the outspoken financial author and economist, isn't reversing course from his bold crash of a lifetime declaration this past December. Speaking in an updated interview with Fox News Digital, which you guys can see the video if you go to their website, Dent cautioned that the everything bubble has still yet to burst, and it may be a bigger crash than the Great Recession. Here's some notable quotes from this interview. In 1925 to 29, it was a natural bubble. There was no stimulus behind that, artificial stimulus per se. So this is new. This has never happened. What do you do if you want to cure a hangover? You drink more. And that's what we've been doing. He goes on to say, flooding the economy with extra money forever might actually enhance the overall economy long term, but we'll only see when we see this bubble burst. And again, this bubble has been going 14 years. Instead of most bubbles going 5 to 6, it's been stretched higher, longer. So you would expect to have a bigger crash than we got in 2008 to 2009. That's very interesting. He then another quote down the line here. He says, I think we're going to see the S&P go down 86% from the top and the NASDAQ 92%. A hero stock like NVIDIA, as good as it is, and it is a great company, goes down 98%. Boy, this is over, Dent stress. We have never seen the government sustain a total artificial bubble for a decade and a half and see what happens after that. But I can tell you, there has not been one bubble, and this is far larger and longer, one major bubble in history that has not ended badly, period. I guess one more quote. He says, no time in history has housing been so widely owned and so many people having second and sometimes third homes just for speculation. While pointing out countries like China and Japan are seeing a rising number of residents buy empty properties as collateral to a potential market crash. Man, he got some fire here. Look at this other one. If you understand what real cycles are and you don't have to buy the most expensive home in history right at the top of the market and then moan for 14 years while it goes through the next downturn, like 29 to 42 or 68 to 82, or what would have been without all of this $27 trillion stimulus 2008 to 22. So he's just...
Yeah, he's basically saying we put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at housing, right around the time when we decoupled the dollar from gold and we started the Federal Reserve and we started just printing money, we've seen with every successive dollar printed, the value of assets, things like real estate, just continue to go up. And so for a point of reference, for most people listening to this, in 1987, somewhere around the time when you were probably born, right?
Your boy, yep.
The median home price in the United States was $87,000, right? So fast forward to 2024, I think the last number I saw was close to $400,000, right? So how does that happen, right? There's more housing being built, right? And there is essentially more demand, but the only reason there's more demand is because people can now buy homes with money that they don't actually have. And so that is the byproduct of inflation. And how do you unwind it? Well, I mean, the first thing we got to do is we got to get our spending in check, and we got to start hacking away at all these government sponsored programs that don't really do anything. Number two, we need to remove ourselves from the global economy and start manufacturing and producing goods here stateside and start being a net producer of commodities and goods instead of a net consumer. And then we need to honestly temper the Fed and everything that they're doing. Like to his point, right? When the hair of the dog, right? You're drunk, you get up in the morning, you slam a beer, the hangover's gone. We just keep exacerbating the inevitable, which is we need to have the hangover, experience the misery of the hangover, and then let the free market actually do what the free market will do after that. Laissez-faire, small government.
Well, and even in that illustration of the hangover, what does repeated drinking do to the body?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. It breaks down. So we constantly think that the cure is to print more money when the reality of it is to stop printing money, to cut off all these government programs, let the market contract, and then let the cards fall where the cards will fall. I don't know if they will do that.
Yeah.
Because I think, to his point, it will be so bad. It'll be unprecedented and bigger than anything we've ever experienced. But I don't know what the alternative is.
But you would just be delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, correct.
So, okay. So before we pivot, I just want to two quotes here, because people call him a fearmonger all the time and stuff like that. He says, "I just say what I see, and frankly, I don't give a darn if people don't like it, because you have to choose. Are you going to tell the truth, or are you going to make people happy? They call me a perma bear. This is absolutely uncategorically BS. Looking at it from history and standing back, nothing's more obvious. A lot of bubbles in history just do not have the steepness or the magnitude. Why? We've never realized the power that central banks can have just to print money out of thin air."
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't call him a fearmonger. He's just stating the obvious, right? These things have happened cyclically, time and time again. And they've happened even, let's talk about before the U.S. economy. We always refer back to the Great Depression because we're still in a 100-year period from that time period, right? So we can still all kind of relate to it historically. But this is the same thing that happened before the fall of Rome, the devaluation of the currency. What they would do is, the coins used to be pure gold and silver, and then slowly but surely they would mix it in, and they would shave off more and more of the gold until the gold was like the smallest portion of the entire coin, right? That's effectively what inflation is doing every time we print dollars and cents. And so this is not uncommon at the end of economic cycles, cultural cycles, societal cycles, which we're clipping on the 100-year cycle. This is what happens, and it all ends the same way. So it's an inevitable outcome. When it happens, how it happens, how fast, how aggressive it happens, we don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a perfect segue as we kind of move into talking about Reid Hoffman.
Yep.
And, I read through the article, and I also read through the LinkedIn post that he put out last night and read all the,
I didn't see the LinkedIn post.
all the freaking, people that were aligning with Reid. You tell him, Reid. All those people who really don't understand everything that we just talked about.
Yeah.